Okay, ladies and gents, boys and girls, what's going on? Wednesday, September the 28th, 2022. Hope you're all doing well. We are live here on the Daily Crow. Of course, as always, I'm Chris Phillips, your host of the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. I see Leonard Matthews, Kevin Ray, Connor Lee, Tombstone. I can't see the rest of your username. Stephen Morwell Jr., Gene Lott, Travie, Connor McComish. See, I keep messing that up, Connor. John Edward, Rebecca with the first comment of the day. What's going on? Lady Bree, what's up? Lady Bree, what's going on? Beanie season, John, indeed. Beanie season, indeed. Somebody asked Connor, is it a little bit chilly up here? Yeah, the highs are in the low 50s. A little bit of a breeze. Thankfully, I'm kind of in this corner right here, so we don't feel a ton of breeze. You won't be hearing that or anything like that. Yeah, but at nighttime, getting to the mid 30s, it's actually really nice. It's actually really nice. You can wear a hoodie and sweats and a beanie comfortably, and I'm not like out here freezing. So it's a good time. Also, those in the Big Cock Club Discord, head over to the TDC Questions channel. The TDC Questions channel, be sure your questions are answered there. Guys, appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all so much again for the love and support all week long. Excited to chat with you all. We got my guy Anthony Trish upcoming in about 5 minutes. So really excited to chat with him and talk all things Gamecocks football. And we're also taking your questions, your comments, and your calls. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. I'm going to put the phone lines, guys, right now. We're going to close the phone lines right now, just because I'm going to go ahead. We're going to knock out this combo with Anthony Trish, and then we'll spend the next hour and a half or so taking your questions, your comments, and your calls. I'm just really happy I found a Wi-Fi signal that was good enough to do this out here. My checkout was at 10 a.m. So I was like, well, we can't do it from the resort or the room, I should say, that I'm staying at. And so I found this kind of common area, if you will, and they have complimentary Wi-Fi. So I didn't get permission to do this out here. Hopefully nobody comes out here and says anything. I think we'll be good, but we're going to rock and roll and ask for forgiveness, not for permission. Yeah, we're about 31 hours away from kickoff. Really, really excited to talk to you guys and talk Gamecocks football, and really excited for game day tomorrow. Really fun. In case you missed it, guys, of course, podcast did drop this morning. Your full breakdown, preview, prediction, everything of South Carolina State tomorrow night. My lead pipe lock of the week prediction by our friends over at A1 Air Quality Consultants. Shout out to my guy Dallas for that. But my A1 Air Quality Consultants lead pipe lock of the week, it is locked in. I got the Gamecocks getting a big victory tomorrow night. 66-10 is my prediction for the game. I think it'll be a very fun night. I really do believe, guys, it's just a name your score game for South Carolina. I think if the Gamecocks want to win 52-3, they can. They want to score 60. They want to score 70. You look at South Carolina State and where they have their weaknesses. They're giving up 255 yards per game on the ground, guys. It's just a team. South Carolina has an obvious size advantage, talent advantage, skill advantage, everything across the board. So it should be a really, really fun night for the Garnet and Black. Let's see. We are in the Appalachian Mountains. I'll tell you that. We're in the Appalachian Mountains up here in North Carolina. So let's see. John and Lance going back and forth on the lattes, off the lattes. Lance says, on the lattes, we win. Off the lattes, we still win. That's when you know, Lance, we're in a good position, right? When we can guarantee victory no matter whether you're on or off the lattes, right? Austin Greer says, I'm going to the Clemson game Saturday. It's going to be very wet. Austin, you're going to the Clemson game. Why are you going to the Clemson game? Why are you doing that, Austin? Why would you do that? Just want to have some fun. Just get out of town. Just go drink and be merry and have a good time. Anyways, 843-790-3377. I can't even spit it out. 843-790-3377. We will take your questions, your comments, your calls here soon. Anthony Tree should be joining us here in the next minute or so. Chase, what's going on, my guy? Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. The Big Cock Club Discord, our folks on the TDC Questions channel. I see Craig Phillips, James Kendall, Luke RJ, those who have been commenting, Greg Bedinger. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all so much for the love and support on the Big Cock Club side of the business. John Edwards says, we're the only one in the state of South Carolina that has moved its game. Coastal and Clemson have not. Okay. Lady Bree says, that's big. I want a donut on the other side. I'm going to question the defense hard. Well, I think a lot of it, Lady Bree, when you're making a prediction for the game tomorrow night, a lot of it just comes down to how will the backups fare. All right, He's in. Let's get him in here in the chat. My guy, Anthony Trish of Pro Football Focus. Anthony, I love that both of us have got a really nice setup right now, man. We got the mountainous vibes going on, right? I'm in the mountains. I don't know if you are, but I love the setup. You got it's officially jacket season. We're getting there, right? We're getting to fall. What's going on, my man? I appreciate you taking the time.
That was my first reaction. I saw you. I was like, man, you're like first team all vibes right now. We had like a 30-minute conversation in the office
Bro.
this morning,
Oh
in between the football talk of just how it felt nice to be in jacket weather. You break out the fall. It's just we're into football season, just the whole feel of it, the aura. So life's good. Can't complain.
First team all vibes. I'm going to sound so lame when I say this, man, but I may have to steal that and make that like an Instagram caption. That's perfect. First team all vibes. That is incredible. Thank you for that compliment, by the way.
Of course.
But yes, no, I'm happy to be at least where I'm at right now. Hoodie and beanie season, jacket season, sweat season, all that good stuff. But we're not here to talk about my clothing attire. We're here to talk football. Anthony, again, Gamecocks. Really interesting, by the way. I bet you never thought we'd be talking on a week where we have a game that just happened to talk about. And now we got a game tomorrow night because of the hurricane and everything, the situation with that moving the game up. But we'll first look at Charlotte. Obviously a big win. It was a slow start yet again for South Carolina, which was a bit nerve-wracking early. I'm not going to lie to you. If you looked at Gamecock social media in the first half of that game, you thought the sky was falling. But South Carolina eventually got it going, got their tails in gear, if you will, and won by a big margin. Cover the spread, by the way. We got to start and just talk about Marshawn Lloyd because I can't wait to hear the way that he graded that performance he had, averaging, I think, over 11 yards, over 10 yards per carry. Really had that breakout performance that I think a lot of us saw him having when he first enrolled at South Carolina. And it's such a great story, right? He overcomes the injury. And to see, we now know, I think if there was any sliver of doubt left, we know now this guy is 110% healthy. And if nothing else, you learned on the offensive side from that game, Marshawn Lloyd is a weapon. How did he grade out for you guys and just your overall thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, exceptionally well. And that he was just kind of the story of the game, obviously. And this game, like the final score, kind of reminded me of the first week against Georgia State, right? You see the final score, a lot of things run through your head. You're expecting a lot of stuff. And then you watch the game, and you're like, not really the way I kind of expected it to play out there. But Marshawn Lloyd, man, he was obviously phenomenal there. And, also kudos to the offensive line. I thought they had by far their best performance of the season. Not even close. And, you look at the grades from them too, and you can see that. But, it wasn't just the offensive line creating holes. Marshawn Lloyd, of course, he found those holes, right? He made the right decisions there. But he was also creating above expectation, right? Of course, the hurdle, one of the best plays of the week there on that score. I mean, he had those moments where he was creating above expectation, which what you wanted to see. And I know it's a bad defense, that you kind of expected this from a rushing perspective. But, I mean, it went as good as it possibly could have. So all in all, of course, it was an outstanding performance, one of the higher graded players of the week for South Carolina, and something to be encouraged about as you kind of got a little bit of an easier one this upcoming week tomorrow now. But, get some confidence going before you get into the tough slate through the mid and the rest of the year.
Yeah, Anthony, definitely a confidence builder for the offensive line, especially. We talked about a lot the first quarter of the season with the matchups against Georgia State, Arkansas, and Georgia, and the physicality of those games. And we knew that the offensive line was a question mark. I think it definitely was a nice relief, if you will, for this Gamecocks offensive line to go up against an opponent. Maybe they could manage a little bit better, right? They could push around, and because again, it was tough. I mean, there's a lot of football teams out there that would struggle with especially the fronts of Arkansas and Georgia and what they present. Let's talk Spencer Rattler. The one thing that I left really leaving that game on Saturday, Anthony, and I'm not going to sit here and beat up 7 too much, but we're getting to a point where, I was watching, I don't know if you heard this, I was watching the ESPNU broadcast, and they were talking about how Spencer Rattler was a game manager, and I wanted to just vomit. I wanted to vomit because I couldn't believe that we've gotten to a point in which he is being labeled in that way. But you look at his numbers, and you look at, and maybe it's not his fault, right? The offensive game plan, as Shamer pointed out, was to run the ball 40, 50 times, ground and pound, whatever. But you look at his statistics, he didn't turn the football over, didn't put it in harm's way, but just kind of very pedestrian, very game manager-esque. And I think the focus going into tomorrow night, I think it has to be and it needs to be the vertical passing game, because I look at these games, Anthony, against the Charlottes and the SC States of the world. This is the time to work on those things, right? We talk about building confidence up in the running game, but what about the passing game? And where is Spencer Rattler's confidence right now? Your thoughts on just his play on Saturday? I mean, again, he didn't do anything, didn't make any mistakes necessarily, didn't turn the football over, but you can't help but feel like you're left wanting more after seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, first off, Spencer Rattler's not a game manager, but against Charlotte, the play calling made him into a game manager, right? The play calling was designed for him to be a game manager, make sure he didn't put the ball in harm's way, just carry out the plan, make these safe throws. I mean, hell, what was it? Like a third of his throws were a screen, right? I mean, his average at the target was like 2 yards. The average like 8-something yards per attempt, but it's just getting receivers in space, getting room to run after the catch. Of course, that was the biggest takeaway was that those first 15 plays, a scripted drive, right? You mentioned, they wanted to run the ball, and that was their game plan. You could see that from the get-go because 12 of their first 15 plays were run, right? And that's kind of the scripted bunch that you see there. So I thought that was very interesting. And, we talk about kind of instilling confidence. I thought last week should have been a game where this was a confidence game for Spencer Rattler. But we obviously didn't see that, right? And so I think it's kind of interesting to me, and I think maybe I'm overthinking it, but maybe there's a lack of trust there, maybe an even bigger one than I thought and than a lot of people think. So I think it's a very interesting dynamic there that I'm going to be kind of looking for tomorrow. I mean, I'm very much looking forward to them facing off against a non-FBS school. A lot of people probably won't be tuning in. We'll be looking at the Thursday night football game on the NFL with the Dolphins and Bengals. But this game is going to be interesting for that reason to me. Do they let him kind of cook a little bit? Do they kind of take the training wheels off and say, go do your thing? Because I think, again, they've been trying to, looking at what they did this past week, it was quite clear, just don't give him an opportunity to make a mistake, right? Get the ball out quickly. You know where you're going with the ball. Just make an accurate throw. Don't mess anything up. And he did that throughout the course of the game, right? I mean, he only had a couple bad throws for the game. Had a couple of nice ones, right? Had one on the slot wheel. In that little hole shot, get one on the outside the pocket on the move. So, I mean, you did see some of those flashes, the arm that he has, but, the decision-making that we have seen so far, those first 3 games, it wasn't there. And it looked like South Carolina looked at themselves in the mirror and say, okay, let's just play a game where he doesn't have to make those types of decisions, right? Because most of the time he's making the wrong one. So I'm going to be curious to see if they do anything differently tomorrow night. I think they do. I'm right there with you. They just need to kind of take everything out and just say, go play your game. Let's see what happens. Because at the end of the day, again, he's playing, I'm not going to, defend him too much here, even though I'm a big supporter of him, but he's playing poorly. And I think everybody, including him, would admit that so far this season. We know he can play very good football. We've seen him do it over the years. It's just about being in the right situation. So I think it's just an interesting dynamic overall between him and the play calling and the offense by design. So I think there's a lot to look for tomorrow night, even though it's kind of a lesser opponent.
Anthony, I'd love to hear your thoughts as an outsider, if you will. You have no biases. You look at the play calling, the offensive identity, Marcus Satterfield to this point, your overall thoughts, because he's obviously a guy that is on the hot seat. And I'm really giving it to the Kentucky game to see what the offense looks like, because obviously that will be game 6. And I just unfortunately kind of feel like if you don't have it figured out by that point, I don't know what to take away from that. So your thoughts on Marcus Satterfield and the offensive game plan and what he wants the identity to be. Do you like it? Do you disagree with it? Would love to hear your take.
So I think this past week, for example, if you had a Luke Doty, right, you did what you did last year type of thing, I think it's good. But you have, I think, a very gifted quarterback that you need to take more advantage of. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I think he's probably maybe a little bit, I would say, too cautious, getting to the point to be a little too cautious given the talent that he does have, which I can kind of understand, right? I'm not going to sit here and say he's, one of the worst play callers in America. I don't think that's quite the case. I think it could be better? Would I do things differently? Yeah, but we'll never know what that's going to be, right? Because it's Marcus Satterfield calling plays there. So I think he can be more aggressive, like I've been saying, just given the talent that he does have. I think it's kind of just an interesting dynamic, just the difference in, what we have seen kind of on a week-to-week basis. Just because this past week is completely different from what we have seen. I mean, when he did throw the ball again, it was very safe, very conservative. They wanted to kind of blend everything with the run game. So really using the run game to kind of, get the passing game going just a little bit, even though it wasn't too hyper explosive there. So I think could be a lot better. I talked about kind of the creativity against Georgia that we really didn't see that much, not enough in my opinion, to kind of, I would say, get the ball rolling early. So I think it's kind of indifferent. I think some people are probably maybe a little too critical this early, but I would probably say it's fair to say there should be some questions there as to whether or not it could be better. And of course, with the reports that we have heard with kind of inside there, I think that's kind of a mutual thing or that everybody could recognize there. So, I mean, still a lot of football to be played, time to turn it around, but definitely plenty of reason to kind of, I would say, challenge, not necessarily kind of dog on and, call them out. I would say just challenge some of the ideas and thinking there, but I think they'll get there eventually.
Anthony, let's play a fun hypothetical game. Let's say Spencer Rattler, does emerge in the second half, has a solid season, not a great season. The Gamecocks go 6-6. Do you think there's a chance he's back in Columbia next year? Because I feel like as the season goes on and his statistics kind of are what they are, it's becoming, I feel like we're hearing more and more chatter of folks saying, it would really benefit him to stick around another year and work on his game. But I think the game plan for him was obviously to, go to the draft after this year. What are your thoughts on that in regards to him as an NFL prospect? Or do you think it doesn't matter what South Carolina's record is or his stats or anything like that? Like he just is going off of literally his pedigree and his talent.
I think he probably, that's a very good question, a good hypothetical. If I had to guess, I bet he probably would come back. Just considering NIL and everything, he probably would make more off of NIL than he would whatever he ends up getting drafted, and it probably wouldn't be too high. And I think if you look at the quarterback class again, I don't think it's as top heavy as like everybody's been making it out to be for the last few months. I think you have Bryce Young, CJ Stroud up there, but I think it's not as strong up top. I think it's pretty strong in the middle, and I think that's where it hurts Spencer Rattler even more, because if it's kind of in that mid-round consideration, it's like, okay, let's kind of go with the guy that's not struggling over the last year and a half, right? That's maybe been playing better football there. So I think he'd probably slide off just a little bit more. So I think it'd probably benefit him to stay not only just from a pure football perspective and, getting better, but also just from a financial perspective. So I'd probably lean in that direction right now.
Yeah, NIL is definitely a game changer. Something you got to think about when you're talking about these NFL prospects and the draft stocks and what they're going to do. Let's move, Anthony, to the defensive side. First half, again, a bit of a struggle. I mean, Charlotte was able to convert 7 of 7 on third downs at one point. Chris Reynolds, I think, obviously showed very capable quarterback for Charlotte. But eventually, I thought they made great second half adjustments in regards to the Gamecocks being an attacking defense. You saw some big plays from DQ Smith, Brad Johnson, Cam Smith, right? Finally got the opportunity, got his first interception of the season. Just talk about what you saw from the defense and in regards to grades for those guys. I know obviously Cam Smith is a guy for you guys that week after week after week is grading well and somebody you're really high on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was the biggest takeaway, is just kind of what they were able to do overall as a group at pretty much every single position group to turn it around throughout the game. But Cam Smith was definitely the star of the show. Just an awesome interception. I mean, it was pretty – I think he had an idea. He kind of baited the quarterback to make the throw. I mean, it was 2nd and 5. They're doing a little quick out to the sticks, and he was just waiting. He was just sitting there. He was waiting. As soon as that ball was getting ready to get thrown, he jumped on it, got the pick. I mean, it was just a masterful play there. And just really throughout the game, when he was going one-on-one in single coverage, which was often, he was shining, right? He looked like the All-American Cam Smith that we had before the season. So, I think that's something to be very encouraging about. Jordan Birch, I think he was an absolute star. Just given, those first 3 games of the season, I thought he was pretty missing throughout the course of those. But this one, I thought he was kind of shining all throughout it. I mean, he had some impressive wins, winning in a variety of ways, which was awesome. That's really what you wanted to see with him this year. Of course, he has the 5-star tools, but it's just kind of piecing it all together, kind of mixing it up a little bit. He did that against Charlotte again. It's a poor offensive line. It's a group of 5 opponent. But again, at least we saw something, right? It shows some encouragement that maybe he can start to piece it together as you get down throughout the latter half of the year. So, I mean, Cam Smith, Jordan Birch, those were the 2 guys there, but really just all across the board. I mean, you had, I would say there's just 2 hyper-aware interceptions, right, off those tip balls up in the air. Those were game changers to the final score for South Carolina, and those can kind of make or break you, right? Some people call them luck, but it also takes a degree of just being aware, right, and keeping your head on a swivel at all times and knowing where the ball is, even though you may not think the nanoseconds before then that you're in position to make a play on it, and then all of a sudden you are. So, I think all around it was an impressive showing, which was expected. And like you mentioned, Chris Reynolds, he's not one of the best quarterbacks in America, but he's a good group of 5 quarterback, right? And I think that can kind of get lost there because, if we're being completely honest, if you're playing a group of 5 team, 90% of them don't have a good quarterback. It's a really bad quarterback, but this one was at least serviceable. He's a good group of 5 quarterback, a very experienced guy, and I thought they held their own as the game went on. So I think it was an impressive game, and I think tomorrow even too. I think if you can kind of carry that in and have that type of performance, again, it goes to the confidence thing, and then you get Kentucky next week. You need to be confident against that group, and again, I think. Well, I've mentioned it a little bit last week, and I don't want to get too far ahead. We'll probably talk about it next week. But the Kentucky team has some more vulnerabilities than you'd think for a top 10 team. So, I think that's overall, it was a great night for them.
Yeah. A defense, Anthony, that was extremely opportunistic a season ago. And obviously the hope is coming off that Charlotte game, going in this SC State game, then getting back into SEC play. Those turnovers come in bunches. It's kind of funny how that normally works out, and normally you get a couple, and again, it continues. The trend happens. This game tomorrow night, Anthony, I won't spend a ton of time talking about in regards to, dive into every single matchup with SC State, because I think it's a game we both agree, even more so than Charlotte, South Carolina should be able to sort of do whatever they want. SC State giving up 255 yards per game on the ground, and that's up against the competition they've played. They obviously opened up with UCF. Lost that game 56-10. I think, Anthony, this is obviously a name-your-score game for the Gamecocks, but really more important than the score is, how you attack this game in regards to what do you work on. For example, you could go run for 400 or 500 yards probably tomorrow night. You could hand the ball off every single play, but I think, Anthony, you're just doing yourself a disservice if you don't take advantage of the opportunity. We talked about last week, right? The offensive line gained confidence. Marshawn Lloyd gained confidence. What about Spencer Rattler's confidence? What about Jaheim Bell's confidence? How about Josh Van's confidence, God forbid? Antoine Wells, all of your other playmakers that you're inevitably going to need in SEC play. Because, Anthony, I'm sure you would agree with this. And I would venture to say that the numbers back up this statement I'm about to make is that, running the ball is great. You win the point of attack. You win the football game. But if you don't get above average quarterback play in SEC play, especially on the road, you're probably going to lose more often than you win. So getting 7 going, I think, I'm not saying they got to throw 50, 60-yard bombs every play, but getting the passing game, the downfield passing game going, not just the swing passes, but getting the downfield passing game going, I think needs to be the point of emphasis in this football game tomorrow night.
100%, right? Again, you mentioned it. You could have Marshawn Lloyd running for however many yards you want him to. If you wanted to play that way, you could. And you can't do that, though, in my opinion, right? I don't want to see 12 runs in the first 15 plays. I don't want to see a third of 7 passes being a screen, right? I want to see those vertical plays. I want to see some of those plays that, we saw in 2020 and even in 2021 that people buried there when he was at Oklahoma. We know he has the talent. Let him show that, right? And I think some of the issues were just I don't know. It's early on. I get the whole thing with, struggling against Georgia and Arkansas and even Georgia State at times. But this is the type of game where, you brought in Spencer Rattler, get him up to speed, right? Because you don't want to go into Lexington, right, where, Spencer Rattler has completed what, like just a handful of passes over 5-10 yards downfield in the last 2 games against bad teams, right? You do not want that to be the case. So I think this has got to be a game where, you don't want to hang 100 on them, right? Of course, we're playing video games. Of course, you probably do it, but, you're not going to do that in this. But in the first half, just play his game, let him go downfield, and I bet you're probably going to see some pretty good results there because I'm still confident that he can be a good quarterback for South Carolina. I think it's just a matter of giving him opportunity and putting him in a position to succeed, not necessarily holding him back because you're scared that he's going to hold you back type of thing.
Anthony Trish of Pro Football Focus. Be sure to check out his work. Anthony, last thing before I let you go, outside of the Gamecocks, SEC games you're looking forward to, anything on the slate stand out? I think the one I've probably got most have my eye on is the Kentucky-Ole Miss game. I think we'll kind of start to figure out how legit is Kentucky really, right? It's interesting. The 7th-ranked team in the country is a 7-point underdog to the Ole Miss Rebels. What are you most looking forward to this weekend in college football?
Yeah, clearly that's one of them. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a scenario where maybe Kentucky loses this weekend and I mean, I think you might have mentioned that they probably aren't too happy that South Carolina moved that game up, right? Because now they get extra rest.
Right.
Kentucky could hypothetically be coming off a loss. So I think there's a lot there. I think Ole Miss's offense is improving given the quarterback situation. I mean, it was kind of spotty there early on, but I think it's getting better there with Dart. Alabama, Arkansas, of course. I think this is a big game just for Alabama's offense in general, just to kind of they played Vandy last week. Vandy got off to a good start for Vanderbilt, but they were never a premier team. They were not even a mid-tier team. It was more about the competition level that they were facing. So I think this is a more formidable opponent to them. And we talk about Arkansas a lot, just given since South Carolina played them early on. This is a good football team, so I think it could be a good test for them. So those are obviously the two games there. Sneaky one, not SEC, that I'm very much looking forward to. Oregon State, Utah, 2 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be a heck of a game that I'm going to be having on along with all the SEC football. So I think this is probably one of the better slates of the weekend. So I guess from a South Carolina perspective, you could probably make a glass half full there. You don't get to see him play, but you're not going to see him lose to maybe a better team, and you can kind of just enjoy the football all around. You already have probably a good win under your belt. Maybe 7 goes off tomorrow night and get a little confident going into that Kentucky game. So I think it's going to be a great weekend of football. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Indeed. Anthony, I appreciate you taking the time, my man. Always look forward to our conversation every single Wednesday. Again, he's Anthony Trish of Pro Football Focus. Be sure to go follow his work. Anthony, we'll do it again next week, my friend. Take care.
For sure. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Awesome stuff. Anthony Trish, Pro Football Focus, guys. Be sure to check him out. Does a fantastic job with those guys over at PFF College. It's always cool to see what their ratings are. Trying to get my phone unlocked here. Okay. Phone lines are open. Would love to hear from you guys. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. My folks in the Big Cock Club Discord. Let's see. Chase says, I think we've moved the game on purpose to get extra time for Kentucky. Okay. All right. Well, hey, if we did, smart move on our end. Finally, we made a good move. Here we go.
Call from
Hunter.
Hunter, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah, so I have a question. So I have a question. I was wondering, are you having a show tomorrow? I'm not sure because I know it's game day tomorrow, so I don't know if you have one.
Yes. So the Daily Crow will air 10 to 12 instead of 12 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do it 10 to 12. So if you can swing it in the morning, we will be live. Reason being, of course, I'm heading down to Columbia, and we'll be at Seawells out there at 2:30. So obviously because of travel, we're moving it back. But 10 to 12,
Right.
we will be live. J.C. Sherbert will actually join us for his weekly appearance at 10:15. So really appreciate him being flexible with his time. But yes, 10 to 12, the Daily Crow will be live.
Okay, sounds good. And one more question. You heard anything about Nicholas Harver? I mean, he seems like he's really warming up to Michigan.
I haven't heard anything different from what you've probably seen at this point. I think the Gamecocks stand in a good spot with him. I know he just took his official visit to Michigan. So it's
Right.
going to come down to the wire for his services for sure. But I think South Carolina's in a good spot. I mean, I don't have anything though right now that I tell you he's a lock for sure. I mean, you never know in recruiting, but I think from the Gamecock side of things, you got to feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. All right, that sounds good. That's all I needed.
Awesome, Hunter. Hey, I appreciate the call, my friend.
No problem.
Yeah,
Take
man.
it easy.
Take care. Great stuff. 843-790-3377. Apparently, message board geniuses, right, on Twitter. I don't know if you guys follow them. They have a list they put out. Top 10 coaches on the hot seat, and apparently Shane Beamer is listed. Is that correct? Let's see. I have to bite now. I have to bite. Let's see. Somehow Shane, there's not even an explanation for it either. Message board geniuses. Yeah, he puts Shane Beamer on the hot seat. I don't know who in their right mind would do that. I don't know. Chase Orban says, are you doing giveaways for, let's see. Oh, for tickets. I'm working on that right now, Chase. I'm working on that right now. I've come across tickets. Obviously, guys, again, I said this on the podcast. If you have tickets to the game tomorrow night and you can't go or you need help selling them, just what you can do, the best thing to do, put out a tweet, Facebook post, Instagram, whatever, tag me so I can reshare it and get it out to our audience, because I'm sure there are folks that want to go to the game that are looking for tickets. Lady Bree, I'm not jaded on any subject. I'm fine. You're more than welcome to call in and voice whatever it is. I'm not jaded. I mean, I listen, Lady Bree, I'm different from others in the sense, like, I welcome the banter. I welcome the disagreement. I'm not, and I'll tell you this because I know what you're talking about. Spencer Rattler's completion percentage against Charlotte, awesome. Like, I'm glad he was able to complete a lot of passes. I don't know how you could look at that game and not want more.
Robbie Davis,
from the downfield passing game.
To accept.
Robbie, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I want to first start off by apologizing, okay? Because I looked up the ingredients to Zach sauce, and there is no anchovies in Zach sauce.
That, honestly, that's a relief that you said that, because I was starting to question life decisions yesterday after you said that. So, okay.
I was like, wait a
sources.
Wait a second. I should know this. I worked at Zaxby's, for God's sake. I should know this. But I looked it up just to be sure, and I was like, wait a minute.
I'm not going to lie to you, my guy.
I think somebody told me one time, and I think I believed
Dude,
them.
I'm not going to lie to you, man. Seeing some of the comments after you said that yesterday, Zaxby's, I'm surprised they don't send me like a letter, because there's a lot of folks that were tuned in here yesterday that were like, I'm never eating Zaxby's again. So I'm glad you cleared that up. I'm really glad, because Zaxby's would be upset.
Okay.
Zaxby's would probably be upset at Robbie Davis.
Oh yeah, yeah. My bosses would probably still love me though, but they'd be upset. But anyways, the main thing that I'm going to be looking for tomorrow night, because I just found out I found out at the last minute yesterday that I'm going to the game, so I'll be there, ready to go, cheering on the boys. But the main thing I want to see tomorrow, okay, is simple. In all three facets of the game, offense, defense, and special teams, attack from start to finish. Don't be passive. Attack them. I don't care if we up by 30, 40, 50, or 60. Attack. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if the third stringers are in there by the second quarter. Attack.
No, I agree. I mean, I'd like to see us set the tone from the jump. I mean, there's no debate, there's no discussion. You are the better football team. You're more talented. You're bigger. You're stronger. You're faster. Everything that goes into being a quality football player, you are more of than SC State is. That's not a hot take at all. So, yeah, I mean, I'd just like to see us. I mean, again, I know some people were were voicing some grief about me. I'm clamoring for these quicker starts. You'll say, oh, it doesn't matter. We're a second half team, but it's just, again, you can't make a living doing that, right? In SEC play, good teams will keep you down there. So,
right. I just eventually it will hurt them.
Yeah, it'll catch up. So I just, I want to see us start off fast. I'm not saying we got to be up 28-0 after the first quarter, but you're the better football team. Go out there and establish it. You're the better team. So I'd like to see that from the jump. I'd like to see us get, put the pressure on SC State, right? Because I feel like if you put pressure on them, they will break. So yeah, like you said, attack, man. Maybe that's the word of the night tomorrow. Attack. So love to see that all throughout.
And like I said yesterday, even though it was against Charlotte, if Marshawn Lloyd, not just Marshawn Lloyd, but any of these backs our running backs have blocking the way Marshawn Lloyd had blocking against Charlotte, our run game will improve dramatically, okay?
I kind of like the dramatically adjective. I think dramatically should be a thing.
And one of the things that I also said, I remember saying this. I told you either against Charlotte or SC State, we're going to have a special teams touchdown. And I think tomorrow night we will have a special teams touchdown. we will have a special teams touchdown or some form or facet.
Robbie, I'm holding you to that because if we don't have one tomorrow night,
I'm going to be mad.
We're going to let you know Friday. That'll be the first thing I talk about Friday. Robbie Davis, freezing cold takes.
I'll trust me. I'll eat crow. I'm
whole plate of crow.
Thinking my mind here. I'll eat a whole plate of crow. Absolutely, and I'm to the point now. Okay, with how Rattlers for tomorrow night. Here's what I would do. All right, I would tell Spencer this. Okay. Because I feel like the coaching staff, in a way, in my opinion now, has kind of had a leash on Spencer Rattler while he's out there. Mm-hmm. I think this is one of them games where you take the leash off and just let it go.
Yeah, I think so as well.
You know what I mean?
I think you let him attack. Absolutely.
Just take the leash off, let him go. And I think this could be the game that either Bell or Josh Van have a heyday.
I hope so, man. I hope so. We need to get the passing game going. I truly, genuinely hope so. Yeah, again, we built a lot of confidence with Marshawn Lloyd, the offensive line last week. That's great. Continue to do that, but let's also make sure.
Yeah. Right.
Let's also make sure that the passing game is where it needs to be going into Kentucky, for sure.
Exactly. And I'm kind of disappointed because my little cousin that I told you about that was really looking forward to this, he can't go. So I told my aunt, I said, I'm gonna make it up to him one way or another, come Hades or high water. So if me and my stepdad wind up going to a basketball game this season, I'll try to get him a ticket and he can go with us.
I appreciate that. I'm sure that would be a blast.
But I'm definitely. And I bet you're a happy camper. The time's been set for Kentucky. The kickoff is 7:30 or 7, one of the two.
Yeah, it's 7:30. I would have preferred noon.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. My mom wasn't too thrilled at the thought of me watching the game from the reception. So I don't know I don't know how it's going to play out. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to play out. So.
You need to just sit your mom down and be like, look, you know what I do for a living. I got to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not going to not watch the game. So I think it'll work itself out. I think that I'll be able to, at minimum, have it on my phone or something, have my laptop out. I don't know, something like that. I mean, we got a job to do. We got a job to do, man. Not watching the game is just not an option. So.
Right. And one of the things that concerns me, right, obviously in the second half we played well against Charlotte. If we play really well tomorrow night and then lay an egg next week whenever we go to Kentucky, I'm probably going to be on the – I think it's safe to say that Satterfield's on the hot seat, right? If we don't capitalize off of having a great game last week to an extent, and then also tomorrow night have to just go out there, insert your dominance, take care of business, score 100 for God's sake. I don't care.
Yeah.
But if we go out there and beat South Carolina State 56-7, like I predicted, and then go into Kentucky and get our brains beat in, it would be safe to say that Satterfield's going to definitely be on the hot seat.
Right.
I mean,
look.
The hang.
What? Why? What?
Go ahead.
No. Why? What? You go ahead.
Why is Beamer on the hot seat? If anybody needs to be on the hot seat, it's The OC.
It's some slapdick article. It's not even a big deal. It's somebody stupid.
I guarantee you it's a Clemson fan.
I don't know. To your point though, you are correct, Robbie, and I've made this point. And I'll say it again. I mean, listen, if we go into Kentucky and the offense stinks and we lose, Fire Sat merch is coming. I mean, hell, it's coming. It's coming. I'm already getting asked for it, so it's coming. It's coming for sure. But to your point, these games are great to build confidence. They are.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest with you, these games don't really mean a ton. When we go, nobody, I think, in their right mind is going to look at the Kentucky game and say, well, we dominated Charlotte and SC State, so I think we've really turned a corner. It's like, no, you need to go prove it first, I think. I mean, it's great you have confidence and you feel good, but you didn't do anything that any SEC team playing those two teams wouldn't have done. Like Vanderbilt would take care of business against CLT
Vanderbilt
and
could
SC
do
State.
what we did against Charlotte.
So, a lot of good can come from it, no doubt. A lot of good can come from it. But you somewhat take it with a grain of salt, right? It just, you can't really draw, all of a sudden, that's our identity. We're going to run for 295 yards a game. Like, you're just foolish, I think, if you think that. You're wishing for something that is most likely not a reality. And if it does become a reality, great. I mean, if we go to Kentucky and somehow run for 300, great. But to draw the conclusion that that's going to be the case, especially after you've watched Carolina football,
right?
You just watched football in general, like, great, go out there and beat SC State. You go beat SC State though, 100-0, and it doesn't really have much of an effect on what will happen in Lexington next weekend. So,
right.
Again, a lot of good can come from it.
Exactly.
I think it's important to, having success is important, right? You need confidence to have success, but then you need success to build confidence. It's something that goes hand in hand. So using tomorrow night, that's why I think, again, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't get Spencer Rattler going, get the passing game going, build his confidence, because he's going to need to be feeling great about his game, because, again, I will stand by this. You are not going to beat Kentucky and Lexington if he does not have a good day. You're just not. You're just not. You need above average quarterback play on the road in the SEC. You need it. So let's see a balanced attack tomorrow night. I'm not saying go out there and throw it 70 times, but, if you run for 295 and Spencer Rattler throws for 180 yards again and they're all swing passes, I mean, I don't need any more proof that he can throw a swing pass. I know he can throw a swing pass. I don't need to see that anymore. Like, that does nothing for me. So, you know what you need to work on. Go out, execute, do it tomorrow. And, again, you just want to be feeling the best you possibly can about your game going into a pivotal game in Lexington next weekend.
Because after tomorrow night, it just gets harder and harder every week. This is our last, for lack of a better term, this is our last cupcake of the season. Yes.
This is our last cupcake indeed. Yeah. Because, hell, I think the way Vandy's playing and the way we've played, I don't even think that's a kick-in anymore. I mean, I'm just not putting anything past this team. I mean, Georgia State was an all-out grind, right? So, and the SEC's a grind, right? The SEC, anybody can beat anybody on any given Saturday. So, this is your last real, tune-up game. Take advantage of it for sure.
Yeah, and if I was Beamer, I'd be like, look, we don't have a lot of we normally don't have like I hate to bring it up, but we lost to App State 3 years ago. We lost to the Citadel.
You're just trying to ruin people's day today.
No. I'm going somewhere with this, okay?
All right. Well, I'm along for the ride. Let's see where it goes.
I would tell the guys, right? We don't have here recently. We have not had a lot of great success against teams like that, right? This is one of them games where you need to prove that kind of crap is unacceptable. Losing to an inferior team is unacceptable. A team that you obviously know that you are better than, losing like that is absolutely unacceptable, no question.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, John just said it, but Robbie, I mean, literally, if I will tell you this, if we lose to South Carolina State, I quit.
That's fair. That's about
the
as
man was
bold
too
as
stunned to speak.
I'm not even sure what to reply.
Hey, if we lose to South Carolina State, I'm hanging up the TSUS cleats and I'm going to do comedy with Uncle Boudreaux.
I would pay to see that. Oh my god, I would totally pay to see that. I'm not even gonna lie, I'd pay to see that. Holy crap, dude. But oh my gosh, I don't know how to respond to that now. I don't know where to go from there. Holy crap. But like I said in the beginning of this conversation, right? In all three facets of the game tomorrow, you attack. No matter who is in the game, I don't care if it's a redshirt freshman taking his first snap. You tell him attack from the time he sets foot on the field. Find the ball and go get it.
Yes, Robbie. Attack. Attack all night. We do that. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to score a lot of points. We're going to win big, and we'll all have a big smile on our face for sure. Robbie, a pleasure. Hey, y'all be safe, by the way, coming down to Cola, or coming up to Cola, I should say, and hope to run into you if possible.
All right, man.
Yeah, man. Have a good one, Robbie. Appreciate you. Take care. Great stuff from Robbie Davis, as always. Guys, we're going to jump into a quick break. How about Chuck McIntosh first with the super chat? Thank you, Chuck. Chuck, thank you. I'll give you the golf clap out here. Thank you so much, Chuck. I appreciate it. You guys want to support the business, support the channel, support the content, everything we do, and you're on YouTube. Super chat, super stickers, a great way to do that. Appreciate all the donations, Chuck. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. My guy John Rice said, if we lose to SC State, my diploma will be my toilet paper tomorrow night. The thing is, guys, I don't think John's joking. I think John would be ready to end it all. I don't know how else to phrase it in regards to his Gamecocks.
Call from Rebecca. To accept, press.
Rebecca, what's going on?
Nothing much.
Great to hear from you. What's up?
I say a lot of people, nothing much. I know everybody's excited probably to hear me. Okay, I have 2 or 3 things that I'd like to address.
Okay.
About something about the ball game. I mean football. South Carolina football. For one, here lately, I've been hearing people bitching about Shane Beamer, complaining because of the football team players. They need to ease up on Shane Beamer because he's not doing a damn thing to anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I think if you're calling for Shane Beamer's job, you're just a slapdick. There's no other way to put it.
Right. But on the other hand, I'm just telling how I feel, though. I didn't get to call in for Monday's therapy because I was trying to call in.
Right. Well, I'm listen. Yeah, this is the spot to do it.
But and for another thing, I mean, yeah, I think it. I don't see why y'all have a problem with Shane Beamer in the first place. I mean, he's trying his best to be a coach.
Right. I think Shane's doing a fine job. It's just year 2. It's just year 2. So we love Shane Beamer. We got none but love. Beamer ball to the moon. I mean, you see it right here on my shirt. Beamer Rattler 22. Beamer to the moon. Yes.
Right. But I'm not. Hey, you said I could call in and talk about football and everything.
I
and
did
people,
say that.
And then we already got people bitching about me already calling in. Hey,
Well-
you don't like it? Oh well.
Well, Rebecca, when you're a celebrity, you know, people throw shade at you. You got to live with the haters. You got to live with the haters.
I mean, seriously. And I got something other to say about on football too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know if we got a chance to beat Tennessee this year or not. I don't know. The way Tennessee's been. I've been watching it because I've been, with my grandfather and been watching it and stuff like that. And the way I've been seeing Tennessee, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
Tennessee's looked good.
Tennessee's
looked really good. I mean, that game's not for a while, and a lot can happen, right? A lot can change. They can go cold or not play their bet, whatever. I mean, we could heat up, but Tennessee looks good. Listen, they're doing a good job, especially offensively. They're doing a hell of a job.
Right. But like you said, something might change by then. Who knows? Yeah. Anyway, we'll just see how it plays. That's all you can do.
That's all you can do. Just see how it plays out.
All right. And I just wanted to call in and say my 2 cents in because everybody needs to quit bitching about Shane Beamer. He ain't done nothing to them,
Well, I think that's something that we can all agree on. No doubt.
And I've friended a friend of yours. His name is Cody. I don't know his last name right off the bat, but he remembers me from the show, and I told him about me. So I said, I'm one of Chris's friends, so he do remember me on the show, though. So,
okay, love that. You're very memorable, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Very memorable indeed.
Right. And I'm ready for the game. Now, when is it? Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow night at 7:00. Yep.
Okay, you should be able to watch the game.
I will be in the stadium, so I will most definitely watch the game. Yes.
Right. Because
It'll be on SEC Network if you want to watch it.
Okay. Well, I was going to say if they had it on Saturday, you would have been screwed if you missed out on the, if you know what I'm saying about the wedding and all.
Well, the wedding's not till next weekend, not this weekend. The Kentucky game is the one the wedding falls on. But yeah, no, we always got to find a way to watch the game for sure. So.
Yeah, Travis Lee was saying something that you could probably there's some rooms that you can rent that has TV and everything where you can watch a game or something, but I don't know the budget limit or anything like that. That's none of my business. But that was a good idea, though. Like about, where the reception is and all.
Mm-hmm.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely look
I
into it.
thought I just, because I was just, thought about it. Then somebody else said something about, why not you put one ear pod in your ear while
That was your friend
Why
John. That was your friend John Rice. You know, he I feel like he's
right.
John is like the leader of the Becky fan club. Truly. John is your biggest fan. John and then Cody Gaskin's right behind him.
All right. But I was going to say, I'd do like what John Rice said. Get you one of them one of your earpods in, and then you can listen to the game.
Yeah,
we will dealing with the wedding.
We will cross that bridge when we get to it. I'll figure out a game plan.
I mean, surely you could.
Yeah.
There's got to be a way you can get through it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. And if not, I've been keeping up with the score. You can go on the Google Chrome app or Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
They got the thing where you can have pin the score to your home screen on your phone.
Right.
And you can do that too.
Okay.
I thought I'd tell you that. And just pin the score to your home screen on your phone. You can keep up with the score and everything.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, we will do that. Rebecca, it's always a pleasure to hear from you. I appreciate you calling in. I'm sure we'll chat soon.
All right. Well, let me say, go Gamecocks. Clemson kiss my ass, and so can Tennessee Vols can kiss my ass.
Well said. Rebecca, appreciate you calling in. Always a pleasure.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep. Take care. Who knew that a Rebecca call was going to happen today? Guys, we're going to jump into a quick break. Need to use the restroom, actually, but we're going to jump into a quick break, guys. I want to continue to hear from you on the other side, though. More of your questions, comments, calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. break. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. We had somebody just, I think, try to call in over the break. So if you'd like to call back in, you're more than welcome to do so. Guys, let me also say this, because I see the comments, and my number one goal in regards to making content, and certainly that applies to Daily Crow, is the consumer experience, the experience of the audience, if you will. I would just say this. I love every single caller that we have call in. To those that do call in, though, right, you carry somewhat of a responsibility to make sure that this show holds itself to the standard in which we've set. So I would just say this. Continue to call in. Be mindful of the time, right? Once you start getting to 10, 15 minutes, right, there's a lot of people that want to call in. So I'm just putting it out there in the universe. Just be mindful of your time. I'm not coming down on anybody or anything like that, but just be mindful of the time. That's all I'm saying. Guys, again, very excited to hear from you. I will say this, by the way, if you want to get your calls in, go ahead and do so. We're sitting out here right now. There is not an outlet, believe it or not, right? There's not an outlet, believe it or not. So I'm on 18% on the Mac. I would be pretty surprised if we make it to 2 o'clock. I think the MacBook is going to die before then. So if it does, guys, please be understanding. Please be understanding. I didn't think about to look for an outlet or a power source. Hopefully, maybe we can make it to 2. I don't know. I'm not trying to speak anything negative like that into existence, but just be mindful. If you'd like to call in, I would suggest you go ahead and do it. Anyways, guys, Hunter Johnson, what's the schedule tomorrow? Wait, what was the mirror comment? Oh, I know. I see now. Anyways, the schedule tomorrow, guys. Game day, of course, right? Gamecocks taking on SC State at 7. The Daily Crow will air 10 to 12 instead of 12 to 2. 10 to 12. So try to clear your morning if you can. We're going to have great conversation tomorrow morning. JC Sherbert will join us at 10:15. He'll probably be on, we'll say 10:15 to 10:45. Then the rest of the time, of course, we will take your questions, your comments, everything else, and get ready for the game. I will be heading down to Columbia probably around 12:30 at 1 o'clock at the latest, because the TSUS tailgate from Seawells will get going at 2:30. That is what time Seawells opens up. So I'm planning on being there right at 2:30, if not right at 2:30, maybe a little bit shortly after, but the plan's to be out there at 2:30. We'll set up as normal. We'll have the Beamer Ball towels for sale. We'll have the Beamer Ball welcome home koozies, both in garnet and black, for sale. We will have koozies to give away, courtesy of our friends over at A1 Air Quality Consultants. They have their logo on one side, our logo on the other. So we've got free koozies to give away. And also, we have the Beamer Ball stickers, the black stickers that you've probably seen before that I've posted on social media. We'll have those to give away as well. But again, the towels and koozies, we will set up as normal. We will have the TSUS and the Big Cock Club flags flying. So we'd love to see you all out there. And then, of course, guys, the game will be at 7. In the meantime, of course, content bleeding out the eyeballs. Y'all know how I operate. I'll be posting plenty of content just like I would normally on a game day. So in the meantime, though, we'd love to hear from you all. Again, questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. I'll say this. Thank you all to those in the Big Cock Club. The Big Cock Club Discord. Y'all always keep me entertained and keep the yucks coming. So it's always a good time. We got a text here. Somebody asked, are we doing a show at Tin Roof tonight? No, we are not. The Tin Roof shows, at least the weekly Wednesday Tin Roof shows, are no longer. So if you're going to Tin Roof night tonight and you're expecting me to be there, I will not. I will not be there. Will not be there. So again, guys, I want to say this, and I posted a clip on social media, and I just want to reiterate here. I just want to say thank you to you all for the love and support, truly, man. And y'all rocking with TSUS and rocking with the Big Cock Club and rocking with the merchandise and rocking with everything that has to do with the business, man, because it's to think back a couple of years ago and look now, and the way that, I've been able to construct my life in a way that I'm literally sitting here in the mountains right now, glorious views and just beautiful scenery. And I've been able to take time this week to really sort of take time for myself mentally and put myself in a really good space. And I've been extremely happy this week. But the fact I've been able to do that and go on the road and still produce content and be in a creative state, the fact that we're at the point in business where I can afford the opportunity to do that, it's all because of you guys, your love and support, whether you love me, whether you hate me, whether you shower us with praise or you bring the banter or anybody, right? Everybody has a role, and we certainly feel the love on this end, and I just cannot say thank you guys enough. I can't say thank you enough. I believe in leading with gratitude and continuously being in that headspace, and it's just incredible, and it's truly a blessing to see what TSUS is, what it has become, and what it is going to continue to evolve into. And again, I always say this is still just the beginning. That's the mindset I keep. I try to keep a day one mindset. So I just want to say thank you all, man. Without your love and support, you guys tuning in to the Daily Crow and supporting throughout the content and the merch and the business and everything, man, it's just truly incredible. It's truly incredible. The support and the love is just overwhelming, and I feel like it'd be a foolish thing for me to do to not express that gratitude on a daily basis, and it's something I will never not do. I sometimes wonder, do people get sick of me doing it? That's just the only way I know, man. That's what I believe. Caden Graham, yes, again, 10 to 12. The Daily Crow will air 10 to 12. If you go to our YouTube, I see you're on YouTube, Caden. You go to our YouTube. I haven't fixed the time yet. I will do that later today. 10 to 12 is when we will air. 10 to 12. Austin Greaseman talking about Clemson. Probably want to keep the game during the bad weather in case they lose. Keep the benefit of the doubt that they'd only have lost to another top 25 team in tropical storm conditions. Bold play if that is their play. Again, guys, on the South Carolina State side of things, right, we all know, listen, I know South Carolina is going to win. You know South Carolina is going to win. Our team knows we're going to win. I'd venture to say South Carolina State themselves know that we are going to win. So what do you get out of this game is much more important than the final result, because the final result damn near is decided. And I'm not trying to slight SC State at all, but we're just being realistic here. This is a big game in regards to taking away positives, building momentum. I know it doesn't mean a whole lot when you move forward throughout this season. Nobody's going to look back on the 2022 season and say, remember that game against Charlotte? Remember that game against SC State? But for where we are right now in this football season and what we've got upcoming, there are a lot of positives you can draw from a game like this, right? Getting Spencer Rattler going, I think, is the number one thing. You showed last weekend you can run the football against inferior competition. You proved you can push around the little guy. Congrats.
Call from
Bad Brad.
Now prove you can throw the ball as well. Let's jump to the phone lines.
to accept, press 1.
Bad Brad, what's up, man? How are you?
What's going on, man? How's it going?
It's going well, man. I appreciate you asking. What's up?
Yeah, it was just a quick question. Well, first, looks like you're enjoying the mountains, beautiful views. Glad you're taking the time to kind of enjoy yourself, take a step away, but still create the content. So that looks great. And then I just got one quick question, then I'll jump off and kind of listen to your commentary. But wanted to ask, do you think Spencer Rattler is frustrated currently? I think with the athlete that he is, and we've seen his history and kind of what he can do at another program, not ours, of course, but through 4 games, regardless of the opponents, averaging, I think he's got just over 900 yards maybe, so averaging 225 a game-ish with 5 picks, 2 touchdowns. I mean, you got to think he's starting to get a little frustrated. He's of course not showing it, in the pressers and things like that, but I feel like for me, if I'm in his position going into this week, if I don't see a better play calls or whatever the case may be, you got to think he's going to start to get frustrated, right? I mean, I think we know his goal is to get to the NFL, and to this point, the stats are just not there. The on-field product isn't there, and I don't think all the blame is on him, but just want to know if you think he's getting frustrated on the inside, right? He's not going to show it, of course, in pressers due to his past, but I mean, I feel like I would be a little frustrated with kind of the progress and what's on the field product, especially because, we've seen what Van can do. We've seen what Juice Wells can do through 4 games. You know what I mean? He's got the weapons. Jaheim Bell, like all those guys, like we know that the weapons are around him, but just kind of the product that's been put on field through play calling and maybe a little bit of execution as well. Like, do you think he's actually frustrated on the inside? Maybe not showing it, of course, but just want to know if you think if you think he's frustrated, and maybe might show it after this week. Who knows? But just want to get your take on that, and yeah, I'll jump off and kind of listen to your commentary on it.
Brad, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And a great question for sure from Brad. It takes us to this, and I'm glad he brought this up because I think we need to point out, right, one of the biggest question marks about Spencer Rattler coming into this season after the departure from Oklahoma and the way that thing ended was, what kind of teammate is he? What kind of locker room guy is he? I would venture to say that, and we're not, inside the building, we're not in the locker room, so maybe, who knows what the dynamic is in there. But I would venture to say that Spencer Rattler has done everything in his power to be a fantastic teammate. I see him uplifting his other teammates on social media, right? He was all about Marshawn Lloyd and what he did, resharing his post. I know that's just social media, but, for those guys, and social media is a big deal, right? It's 2022. We all live on social media. By all accounts, I think Spencer Rattler has shown he has been a fantastic teammate this year. And, I haven't seen any of the criticisms. I haven't seen any of those things shown from him where he's selfish or he's a bad teammate or he's going to quit on his team or he's going to fold when things get tough. Quite the opposite, quite the contrary, right? So I think that needs to be highlighted because that was something people want to throw shade, but they don't want to give credit, right, when credit is due for something like that. So let's make sure we take a moment to give credit to Spencer Rattler for being a good teammate. Now, back to the question about, is Spencer Rattler frustrated? I mean, he's a competitor. How could he not be? How could he not be? Because at this point, his stats are what they are, right? His stats are what they are. 2 touchdowns, 5 picks. I think as an athlete, as a competitor, I think he's frustrated, right? And I think he's doing a good job of not showing that. I think he's doing a good job of being a good teammate and, again, putting the team first. And, hey, as long as we win, whatever, my stats don't matter. I think he's probably also enjoying, honestly, being in Columbia and not having the level of pressure, right, that he had in Norman again, when he was at Oklahoma. But yeah, I mean, I think certainly there's a level of frustration there, right? How could there not be? So, and what you hope is, obviously, again, he continues to be a great teammate, continues to do what he's done, mentally. But at some point, I mean, he's going to get frustrated, right? Because this is a big year for him, money year. I think he was obviously planning on going to the draft, guys. If you don't believe me, he posted literally before the season. He was at the combine. He was like, see you next year. Like, the man's plan was to come here, ball out, go to the draft. So, if his numbers suffer, obviously his draft stock is going to suffer, and that's not something that he that he signed up for. So yeah, to your point, man, again, I just think it's important we highlight that Spencer Rattler has been a good teammate because everybody'd be highlighting it if he was a bad teammate, right? Everybody would. So anyways, great question though, Brad. I think that's something that we haven't really discussed. So I'm glad you brought that up. I tell you what, if y'all, and I love him for it, by the way, I'm not even highlighting it. I'm not even coming down on him for it or highlighting this in a negative way, but I know we got a lot of folks on YouTube. If you have not followed along with Coach Ford's banter on Facebook, it is entertaining. Coach Ford, I just can't believe you've never called in.
Call from
Chuck McIntosh.
Here we go. Chuck, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, Chris, how are you? First time caller. I enjoy your show.
I love that.
Question is going to be quite controversial, but I feel like I need to ask it.
Mm.
Is there a certain point in time where we actually need to look at Doty, in your opinion? His legs looked extremely well against Charlotte. I know he was playing probably backups and so forth, and he threw a beautiful ball on the down. And for some reason, he was throwing deep balls where Rattler's just not doing that. And I don't know if it's play calling or if it's him.
Yeah, and whether it is Rattler or the play calling, or you want to blame the O-line, you want to blame the receivers, or whoever you want to blame, it has not clicked to this point like we thought it would. Now, your question, right, obviously is not going to be, if you posted this on social media or if you probably even just brought this up in conversation with other Gamecock fans, that question is probably not going to be received very well. But I will, to your point, I will say this. ESPNU and others are talking about, it's fine. He's a game manager. Let Spencer Rattler be a game manager. If having a game manager was what you wanted, and this is not meant as a slight at Luke Doty, but it's just the honest truth. If having a game manager was what you wanted, you shouldn't have even gone out and got Spencer Rattler. Because here's the thing. Luke Doty, as you mentioned, is more mobile than Spencer Rattler is. Like, if Marcus Satterfield truly just wants to run the ball for 270 and throw for 220, and it's an emphasis on the run game, I'd argue that Luke Doty is going to give you more of an opportunity to have a productive run game because he himself can run the ball, right? I mean, Spencer Rattler's got some wiggle. He's got some agility, but nowhere near the level of what a Luke Doty has. So that's what's a bit maddening, right? Is, you didn't bring Spencer Rattler here to be a game manager. If that's what you were looking for, you have a guy that is second year in the offense, probably I'd venture to say understands the offense better than Spencer Rattler. So if you're not going to use Rattler and get the most out of his abilities, what's the point of having him out there? So, and I'm certainly not saying any of that, calling for a change or anything. But I just, it's a fair question to bring up, and it's a fair discussion to have at this point.
And well, like I said, I knew it would be a controversial question. It was just something that, like you said, Rattler, for whatever reason, has not been the guy that we thought he was going to be up to this point, at least not in my opinion.
Right.
I thought he was going to be airing this thing out for 300-400 yards a game, and with our wide receivers, and you got a head coach in Beamer who 3 weeks ago said we got wide receiver, NFL talent at wide receiver, and we got an NFL talent quarterback. And for some reason, I just don't see it at this moment.
Yeah. No, it's just not clicking. It's not clicking. And I'm someone, I'm very quick to point out when the personnel's not there. And I mean, I did that a lot last year, but I'm not saying that we've got, a bunch of first rounders at wide receiver or anything like that. But you're going to have a hard time convincing me that we don't have the guys on the outside, the weapons to have a productive passing game. Right. So
I agree with.
Yeah. I mean,
that.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for taking my call.
Chuck, I appreciate it, man.
Call to us tomorrow.
Yeah, call in anytime, man. I appreciate you calling in. Always cool when a first-time caller hits the phone line. So I appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Great stuff, guys. We're at 5% on the max, so let's just do this, and I hope you guys aren't too disappointed. We're going to go till 1:30. Again, I know I hate to do this. I hate to cut it short, but if we don't do that and we don't have a stopping point, it's the Mac is literally going to die, and I'm just going to disappear off the screen. So we're going to go till 1:30 today. 1:30 today we will go. I know this has been kind of a crazy week, but I know you guys will be cool with it. I just don't want the Mac to die, and we're literally in the middle of the show. So we'll go for another 8 minutes. If you guys want to squeeze in a call, now's the time to do so. Now is the time to do so. So please get your call in. Also, for those that tune in the Daily Crow via podcast version, obviously because of the fact we're on the road, that will not be up until later tonight. I will get that up at some point. Yes, my guy Brad asked about the beanie. Yes, this beanie is on the store, tsus.store. And once I get home, I'm going to be uploading and creating a lot of new merch for the winter and posting that ASAP in regards to beanies, even more hoodies, long sleeve shirts, pullovers. We've already got a ton on the store right now, but especially beanies. I really haven't dove into beanies. I'm going to make a beanie like this that has Big Cock Club on it. It's going to have we're going to have one that says Beamer Ball on it. maybe even Beamer Rattler as well if you guys are interested in that. So, yeah, the beanies are really cool, man. This thing's extremely comfortable, and it's obviously getting to that time of year as we hit the month of October. Now that we don't have a game this weekend, it's a great opportunity to do that this weekend. So, guys, we may not even make it to 1:30 because the battery's now on 3%. Let's do that, guys. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. I apologize. Again, I know I probably should have planned ahead, but I don't know. Anyways, I'll make it up to you. How can I make it up to you? Yeah, Tylenol what do you want, Tylenol? Beamer Ball sweatpants? Would Beamer Ball sweatpants be something you guys? I mean, we've already got the TSUS and the Big Cock Club at sweats, but I mean, I'm down to make Beamer Ball sweats if you guys want Beamer Ball sweats. We can definitely do that. So we can definitely do that. TSUS.store. And just stay tuned for all the latest drops. We will have new drops that will be taking place. Everybody gets a free Beamer Ball koozie. Okay. How about just an extra 20 minutes or something on the show tomorrow? Extra 30 minutes on the show tomorrow, something like that. We'll just do that. How about it? Guys, that being said, like I said, I really don't want the Max just to shut down and die on us. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate y'all. Hey, check out the podcast that dropped this morning. Check out the podcast, episode 708, packed show on a Wednesday, Tuesday presser takeaways, SEC gambling picks, and also, of course, breakdown of tomorrow night's game against South Carolina State. Guys, a jam-packed show, really fun stuff. Of course, I'm locked in, got the Gamecocks winning the game 66-10. I've got South kind of winning the football game 66-10. I think it's going to be a really, really fun night. Gamecocks will get to 3-2, over 500 on the season. And I think it'll be a fun night for us all in Garnet and Black tomorrow night. 10-12, guys. The Daily Crow will rock tomorrow. We'll have JC Sherbert on. We'll be taking your calls, as always, on a game day edition of TDC. And then on Friday, normal TDC 12-2 with the podcast also dropping there as well on Friday. Guys, going to go ahead and wrap it up. Again, I apologize for the early exit, but the MacBook's about to die, and we are out of town, so we're going to go ahead and get rolling. But appreciate you all tuning in, guys. Again, thank y'all for rolling with the punches. I know sometimes things get out of whack, but thank y'all so much for being cool with everything, for sticking with us through it, and always supporting. I really do truly appreciate it. You guys, I'll tell you this last thing, you guys inspire me on a daily basis, man. Truly. So thank you. Guys, appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we will talk to you all tomorrow. Take care.